Hello, everyone. Welcome to FinanceOlogy 101. Class is now in session. The information provided during this podcast is just that, information. You will need to do further research to address your specific situation. Enjoy the session.
Hello, this is your host, Elroy Seegars of Gifted Generations LLC. We're hosting this special special podcast today. And this podcast today is actually about men and money, men talking money and generational wealth, a roundtable discussion with men about their financial viewpoints and financial visions for the future. Today, I have with me Daniel T. Alston, the Rolesville Commissioner, and Breyon Johnson. So, Elroy Seegars, myself, the host. I'm a baby boomer. Breyon is Generation X, and Mr. Dan T. Alston, he's 45. He's like, hey, I'll cover all generations because I'm that kind of man. So let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off right today. So once again, thank you guys for taking time out on your busy schedule to come to my humble abode here and have a discussion about those things. And it's a Friday night, so let's go ahead and get busy. We're all three men here. We go to a very powerful church. One thing we have in common is that we all go to Raleigh North Christian Center.
Yes, sir.
By the Dr. Apostle Jeffrey Chapman. He teaches entrepreneurship. And one of the things that he touched me and Robin on was what's in your hand. So this is what you see being developed right here is what's in our hand, just trying to get the word out and the message out. You know, when you think about men and what Dr. Chapman teaches and what you have learned doing the FLE classes that we offer, a 6-week class at Raleigh North Christian Center starting April 17th, 6-week class. So check it out.
$30.
Yeah, there you go. And you can come as a couple too. So Breyon, give me a little something, for the people that you know, the guys that you've been around, and you're trying to encourage those who may be on a level higher than you, on your level below. How do you see what he just stated when it comes to man and money? I mean, what is your take on that?
I think what Dan T said was excellent, first and foremost. I think when it comes to men, the issue that men have is being told what to do with what they have.
Don't tell me. Don't
Right?
tell me.
Right. I think that's the issue. And I think, when it comes to money or just management in general, I think we as men have to, learn to, as we said, thy humble thyself, right?
Okay.
So that we can make sure that we're not letting information that could help us go forward pass us by because we are closed-minded.
Okay.
Right. And so when it comes to these SMART goals and how I've been able to, talk to men and above my age or below my age, I think the one thing that I have noticed is that we have to come into a place where we're willing to listen, to understand, and not listen to respond, right? And then like Dante said, what is the drive? Right. And then most importantly, focusing, right? As Dr. Chapman has told us, successful people have what? They have clarity. Clarity in multiple ways.
Come on now.
So, clarity and knowing who we are, knowing where we're going, knowing what we want to accomplish, right? And there's a fourth one I just can't think of right now.
You on count of three, y'all.
But shout out Dr. Chapman for those great nuggets. But,
so you said something that really I wrote down here. You said it's closed-minded. I'm thinking and being closed-minded and being vulnerable.
Absolutely.
A lot of times we open ourselves up, but we're humble. But does humbleness drives to being vulnerable also? Do you see there's a disconnect there? Because I can be humble, but I'm not going to be vulnerable to my situation. I'm not going to share that with somebody else.
Right.
So how do we as men open up more to be more vulnerable? I ain't saying to the world, right. I don't want to be. Rush you, baby. Rob, turn the Robin. Okay. Can y'all guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just beat my wife. she's helping out. She's helping out on the back end. That's my IT support, y'all. So how did you become humble and also be vulnerable at the exact same time, but not to the world? Because you can't, as Dr. Chapman says, you can't, if you want to get help in a doctor, you don't go to a mechanic.
Correct.
If you need help in finances, you don't go to a dentist. You need to find somebody. Now, Dan T, he's debt free, y'all. 45, 45. And it wasn't just this year either. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So you want to get around somebody that has done it. Either they look like you or they don't look like you, and try to glean from them. I think a lot of times we are afraid to glean from somebody else because I don't want to show somebody who I truly am. What are your thoughts on being vulnerable to another man?
Now, that starts with building trust. And, us as men, and especially being prior military men,
come on now.
They always teach us to be whore, to not show no weakness. Mm-hmm. And then if we had fathers that were hardcore and our grandparents or grandfathers, it's my men,
okay,
and your uncles and cousins that were hard, then of course, showing a sign of weakness is being vulnerable, right? So in order to share, when you're talking about finances, you were putting my pride. And you're saying that I'm not handling my business, which will hurt our ego.
Right? Yeah.
Because
it's like you've been chastised, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because we know that history and stats have showed us that divorces happen over finances. And he's saying, that Kanye West was right when she take your money, but finances is number one reason why, and it can cause a lot of problems. But if we are worried about what others say,
right,
meaning that if I'm going to save my marriage, you're right, I'm going to that doctor or that person that is more knowledgeable with handling their financial business,
especially than me,
and be like, hey man, how do you do that? Now it comes with being the person that's given the knowledge has to be an approachable person.
Okay,
that's the first part, because you want to go to someone that you feel like you can connect with, that you can trust. Because if you can trust that person, then you're gonna be vulnerable. But you have to be in a closed setting,
right?
So I noticed that in my house now, my wife built a special room, or I call it the bourbon room because that's what it is.
Ain't nothing but bourbon.
But guess what that room does though? It invites men in because she prayed over the room.
Right.
She prayed over the room.
Yep. Come and talk to you.
And guess what? Our guards are let down.
Yeah. You break it down. Yeah.
And you may have one glass in your hand, and sometimes it never get even drunken at all.
So it's your personal. It's a man cave, in other words, right?
It's a personal.
It's a man cave / prayer closet.
Yeah.
With a chair and TV.
And best of both worlds.
Bunch of Cowboys crap.
Yeah. And the TV never get turned on, but you are elevating yourself because you're getting taught, no matter what the age is. Right. You're getting taught of how to do things.
That's good. Better. You said about age. Breyon, you're the youngest of the group. How do you see people around your age deal with finance when it comes to, I'm talking about men, we'll leave the women out. That's a different topic. Is it more difficult for people your age to talk about money when it comes to men and being vulnerable? Or do you say you're more likely to talk about it because you're younger and you're more free with the conversation?
So good question, Mr. Elroy. And I would like to think, and it's a small sample size, right, of men, but people that I've been associated with or around, they are openly talking about money. How can I get better? A lot of people are already in a deficit already, right? That's the way the game is. And just the name of the game, right? And trying to dig their way out. So when it comes to talking about money, people are more interested in trying to fish for that information and listening with both ears open, right? So they can climb out of whatever hole that they're currently in. So I think the conversation is more easily accessible for men my age rather than maybe it was in prior generations.
Wow. Do you see, I'm older, Dan older. How do you compare your age group to our age group? How you deal with it? I mean, like it's a small sample size because you're dealing with a different kind of mindset.
Absolutely.
So you're like, hey, these guys are different. They may be the same. I don't know. How do you see us, people in the church, maybe now that you're there, what is your experience now, compared to what you were before and the people you're dealing with now? I mean,
so when you say
age group, how do you see older people and talking about finances, providing you help and assistance, information?
Okay. Absolutely. I think, I've been fortunate enough to be able to, come in contact with men like yourself and Dan T, people who, and Mr. Billy as well, shout out to Billy Singleton, everybody. Absolutely. Who have the heart of teachers, which is important to find, right?
Right.
And are willing to share that information, that knowledge with us as young bloods, as we
Right.
call it, right? Because they want to see us
You young bloods, we OG.
at OG. Yeah, shout out to OGs. But you need those OG people who've been there, done that,
Right.
right? So they have all the knowledge, right?
Right.
So why do I want to run this same marathon and get caught in this same trap, fall in the same pit hole when somebody like yourself or Dan T has already done it? And said,
Right.
you get to this point, this checkpoint, go around it, go left, go
wow,
right,
wow,
right?
wow.
So I've been able to come in contact with a lot of men like yourself who have been freely open to giving me that knowledge that I seek. I think that men of my age are more readily available to provide any knowledge that they have, because I think that we understand that crabs in a barrel mindset is not going to help push the culture and ethnicity forward. And we're all about trying to continue to progress as a people.
So this is a touchy subject. So here I'm back to you, Breyon. Compare the different ethnic groups as far as men that you've dealt with. The conversation about man and money and wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, very touchy subject, and definitely want to highlight love and respect to all, right?
Right.
But I think from an African American standpoint, we're not as far behind as I think we once were.
Okay.
Because we have people who actually enjoy reading and enjoy seeking knowledge.
Okay.
Right. So I think that we are in a space where we are looking for the information, trying to gain a level of understanding, and being willing to share it.
Okay.
Now I think we're talking about all our Caucasian brethren.
Okay.
I think they're a little more
knowledgeable,
not
involved.
Well, I would say when it comes to sharing information,
exposure
with themselves.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
They're more exposed, and they have that knowledge, right?
I get that.
And so I think they're more willing to have to share it within their group. But if you're a brother per se, right? I think they have to kind of test the waters first.
Okay,
and
make sure you can accept this information and be able to apply it, because don't waste what I'm telling you. More or less.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that respect factor, that comfortability factor as well. If they like you, and they once you get in, I hate to see it, but you in, right? And I think my
sound like pledging to me.
This is just my personal experience, right? And then my Latino brother, and I can't really speak on that too much because I haven't had, got a lot of Latino friends, but I haven't really had an opportunity to really, break bread with them on that level. Okay. But it goes on.
Wow. What about you, Dan T? The different ethnic groups that because you out in the community, you the committee, you all over you like Highway 10, 20, 30 to 90. You all east to west. So what is your experience level? Because being in that position, you deal with the community a whole lot. So what is your experience dealing with finances and money when it comes to men?
Okay. And Elroy, you are correct. I have ran across all nationalities. And that's why I say is not just what Dr. Chapman said, the expectation, but also what is you are exposed to.
Right.
And
keep that mic in front of you.
Yes, sir. And those guys are, meaning all of us, we have to watch our exposure intake. Okay. So when I'm around, and that's one thing I always tell people, money is not racist at all. Money do not care who has it, but you better respect it, because fast money that is not being taught, that's not being trained, right, will dwindle out of your hands. So when I'm exposed to different nationalities, a conversation that always come across is, how do you do that? Okay. And why do you do that? Okay. And hey, that's great. I never look at it like that. Right. So you start to have a common ground, conversation that's easier. Right. Versus someone that may look like me. I can talk to them about sports all day long. And I'm like, why are we talking about millionaires when we can be one ourselves?
Yeah, you're talking about, don't talk about them, be one of them, right?
Be one of them. Okay. But so you have to be exposed, and getting inside the circle. Right. But now once you start speaking, because you have knowledge about something, now you become valuable. Right. Which you talked about earlier.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to make sure we change gears but stay on the same tune. I was just looking at some notes from Dr. Chapman, and it says successful people operate on just one word, and that word is clarity.
Absolutely.
He says successful people are clear about 4 things, and it goes right along with budgeting: who they are, where they are going,
yes, sir,
what they want to do, what they want to accomplish. I was like, man, that sounds like budgeting right there. I said, and I'm like, wow, he's right on line. And it amazes me how he's talking about things that align with with goals, your personal goals and your hobbies and stuff. So
It's
like I
worth
said,
it.
continue to shout out to that man of God, man. He's an
Absolutely.
amazing man, and we're here doing what we're doing really because of RNCC and Dr. Chapman.
Oh yeah,
And First Lady Sandy Chapman.
I-
The Chapmans,
I mean-
first family. So they have afforded us. His teaching has launched a lot of things in that church.
Oh yes.
A lot of businesses, and I just want to make sure that men get together. Because me being over the MOV, Men of Valor, these conversations can be sometimes strained.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by strained is because, as you said earlier, the conversation I had to be open. I had to present myself as vulnerable to them first.
Always first
before they present it back. And sometimes it's a ratio of 4, 5, 6 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you one thing to me, 2 things. And they warming up. I'm already on 10 because that's who I am.
Right.
So I'm gonna give you a word, and I know you probably know what the word may be. I want you to think of this word where you were before when you first heard this word, and where you are now.
Okay.
All right. Now don't think don't think now.
Okay.
All right. It's wordplay. When you 10 years ago, when you heard the word budget, how did that make you feel? Dan T. Give me one word.
Restricted.
Okay.
And I'm sorry.
You said
I'm sorry.
and. It's 2 words. It's okay.
Yeah. Restricted.
Go ahead, do the and. Restricted and.
It's kind of like what Breyon was saying. I do not want to be told what to do.
Okay. Give me 1 or 2 words. Back in the day, you were 19 then, so give me 10 years. I'm for you. I'm gonna go 5 years back. You were 24 before you started getting on this path of freedom.
Right.
When you heard the word budget, how did it make you feel?
Huh?
Yeah.
That's the word, huh? Piggybacking off what Dan T said, confined.
Okay.
What is that?
All right. Now, that same word in today's world, where you are now, when you hear budget, does it make you feel like, what you feel now?
Freedom plan.
What you feel, Breyon?
Freedom plan.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And tell me, why is it that what helped you to transition, or why did you transition from then to now? What mindset did you have to go through to get to where you were then to now? Because I always tell what a person is when I say put you on a budget based off of their reaction. I'm like, oh, there it is right there. They're struggling. But like saying, okay, no problem. Okay, this person, I can work with this person. So tell me where you were then for you, Breyon, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You was in diapers 10 years ago. And where you are now, what helped you to transition your mindset from then to there? I'm going to start with you, Breyon.
Absolutely. So I definitely want to highlight our FLE class once again that we have at RNCC. That's starting on April 21st?
April 17th.
April 17th, excuse me. Yeah, so this class I took in the fall of 2021.
Yes, sir.
And this class highlights so many great things, starting off with having a growth mindset.
Okay.
And how important it is to have that. And so from taking this class, I incorporated a growth mindset.
Okay.
It helped me think outside the box.
Okay.
So when you talk about a budget or a freedom plan,
Okay.
to me, the one where I want to also add is wisdom.
Okay.
It's important to have something like that because, we all want to get free and
Right.
be free.
Right.
And how do we start financially being free?
Okay.
By learning how to manage our financial well-being.
The question was, what is FLE?
Financial learning.
Financial learning experience.
Experience.
Not everybody goes to RNCC. We would like them to go to
But they can still take
FLE
the
stands for
class.
Financial Learning Experience. Good question. Will you finish, sir? I mean to cut you off.
Yeah, that's pretty much my piece.
Okay, Dan, your transition.
Transition was having a great wife.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You see who my IT department is?
yes. Yeah.
She's the photographer now. She's just been upgraded.
Having a great wife, which is my partner, my love, and what.
We about to go there. We about to
And
go there
what?
with the wife. We about to go there,
Oh
y'all.
yeah,
We
man.
about to
Hey,
go there.
that's my baby.
Shout
I'm
out,
telling
babe.
you. She been there with me when she met me at the high of my game and watched me go down, and where she probably could have had left, and she stayed with me.
Mm.
So
you're saying she was a good woman, but you was a good man too, right?
Yes.
That's why she stayed, right?
Yes, sir.
Give you
Yes,
some
sir.
credit. Give you some credit, Dan, because she ain't staying with no bad man. So
Yeah.
let's check that point right there.
She saw the potential.
All right. Woo, come on now.
She saw the potential and
Come
she
on
saw
now.
the drive.
Mm.
So wherever you as a man can conceive, because you would think of, okay, women conceive our physical child.
Right.
But as men, we do conceive our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we can conceive and give
Right.
birth to.
Right.
and believe it, which is having that faith by it, right?
Right.
We can achieve it.
Okay.
Okay. So by being able to, with my wife, and we coming on a plan of where we see ourselves,
Okay.
5, 10, 15 years from now, having short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals.
Right. You know, a lot of people don't know about midterm goals.
Which I would be glad to discuss that if you allow me to.
We discussed it on one of my other podcasts, but I just want to let you know, not everyone knows about that. It's amazing. They do short term and long term. But go ahead, Dan.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
There's that rabbit hole, y'all. There's that rabbit hole.
There's that rabbit hole.
Breyon, you got to bring us back. You got to bring us back.
Bring us back. You know, but working together for that common goal, and that's why you have to see your situation, not just now. So that's why when I advise people, I say, hey, I need you to watch what comes into your ear gate and what comes into your eye gate. My late grandmother always said, hey, turn the radio station, right? So I can listen to my program. Turn the TV, the television to my program.
So program yourself. Okay.
Yeah, so you have to be careful because these days, the enemy wants us to be distracted.
Right.
Distracted off our target.
Right.
And it's so easy for us to become distracted because we become discouraged.
Right.
And for men,
come on,
we get depressed when we're not hitting our bullseye. And then especially if we hear the negativity come in, that's why I said the eye gate, and now the ear gate is coming in of you're not the man you once were, or I thought you were going to do this. And you hear that so much, your ego,
right?
You start to get down, and then you have that hidden cry,
right?
To where you don't feel like you can get out,
right?
Unless you confide in another man,
right?
But sometimes you may be so vulnerable enough where you don't even really believe,
right?
So a man thinketh, so if he,
right? So I'm gonna add one more gate, that mouth gate too.
Watch what you say.
That mouth gate too, because that can really get you in a whole lot of trouble. So Dan, you mentioned the wives, and girlfriend. Breyon is he's off the market. He is in a relationship. So ladies, you may be
actually I'm a bachelor at this point.
What?
Ladies, you heard it first.
But
what?
God is good all the time.
Well, okay. Can you give your phone number out? I'm just joking. Well, all right. Good man. I saw you 2 years ago when you first came on. I said, Dan, this guy's going places. You can see certain things on men, and I'm glad that you, as a black young man, you at a young age, you're getting your life in a financial order. I call it financial enrichment. So when I heard the word budget back in the day, I was just like you, but it didn't never bother me. I just knew how to put a plan together for me and my wife, so it never stressed me out. So now it's gone from budgeting to financial enrichment. What I mean by enrichment is just right here. Okay. I'm taking my money and it's going to enrich my life. Even though it may be the same amount each 2 weeks, 1 week, 1 month, whatever it's going to be, I don't say I'm going to budget this here. I'm going to take this money and how I'm going to use it on this bill. It's going to enrich me for paying this bill off, because I do not want to be paying the man on his credit cards to make him rich. I'm going to make sure I have money to enrich myself.
Absolutely.
That's right.
We were talking about credit cards earlier. How we tend to use them improperly or use them at all. And I always say, I'm an end of the month kind of person, or I can pay it as I go, depending on the kind of cards you have. So some people don't believe in credit cards. I know Dan T, he's sitting on stacks on stacks on stacks over there, which is great. That's why I always give you props. When I see people, I always say, hey, this guy's debt free, and I love to talk to you about those things. So I don't mind sharing or talking to you. But a lot of times we as black men, when we see another black man doing well, we don't give him props. We shy away from, hey man, I heard you're doing good. What can I learn from you? Because it may appear to another man that if I'm asking you how well you're doing, that must mean I'm not doing this great.
See, and that's the
that's the problem.
Yep, that is the main problem to where us as especially as black men,
right,
have to get over.
Right,
it's a lot of pride.
Pride. Yeah.
Pride equal
first to come, the last to leave.
And I used to say a lot that pride equal broken mindset, and that's where it starts at. That's why I said that ego for a male is so important for us, because we want the tap on the back, and sometimes we need to be told, "Hey, you're doing the right things."
Right?
Because why? It can motivate us to even do it more. So you have to crawl, walk, run.
Right.
steps.
Yeah, but do you feel a lot of times when a black man, I'm just saying with a man, I'm not going to say black, let me take that back, as a man, because I deal with all diversity groups, if we're not in the right place, do you think it's hard for them to say, hey, you're doing good? Or are they looking for that pat on the back first when it comes to money management? Because, some guys that you can read on their face.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't like to me, it's like, don't show where you are, show them where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be stuck into your mindset of I only have this much. When you say only, you're minimizing your own self. I always say word choice for me is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Positive thinking and to reinforce what I want to go. What is your take on encouragement of others when it comes to even when you're not in the right place? How do we get men to encourage other men, even when it ain't about saying here's a plan.
Right.
It's about saying, hey, bro, I hope you do good today. Hey, bro, I see what you're doing, brother. I'm gonna be there one day. I mean, why do you think we don't do that as much as men to encourage when it comes to money and seeing a person? Now, somebody got a nice car. Oh, bro, you doing good, man. I see you, bro. I want to be like you.
Quick.
But everybody we know, elbows, we don't do that. We encourage a superstar that we don't know faster than we know our own brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to money, we won't have that conversation.
No.
I don't want to start on family. That's next,
Right.
the family dynamic. Do you loan out money to your family, or do you give out money to your family? Or do you just like, nah, I can't do it, partner? So let's just go ahead and go there. Let's talk about family.
Oh, you want to skip over that last question?
No, I shouldn't. Go ahead and answer that question. You're right, Dan T. I was going on the rabbit hole. Go ahead, Dan. Answer that last question, Dan.
Please repeat it again.
Man, I don't forget what the question was. I told Breyon, he supposed to keep me straight. It was just basically men encourage other men, regardless of where you are, why you think there's a struggle. We only want to sometimes be encouraged, or we want to encourage people of a higher status than encourage the brother that's next to us.
Yeah, we have
that memory, boy.
Yeah, I know. Right? Hey, that's why I asked you. I was like trying to remember myself, but no, sir. The answer is, and I can only speak about me.
Okay.
When I saw others doing well, and I'm like, man, it must be nice for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because I was afraid to seem inferior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
That I didn't
by asking, right?
By asking.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody used to tell me, hey, man, closed mouths don't get fed.
Mm.
And I was like, But it took another, especially with being in the military, you're exposed to so many different people, so many different mindsets, and one of the reasons why I became, I switched over from being enlisted to officer, to warrant officer, is because I started hanging around others and asked them how.
Right.
And I wasn't being afraid no more.
Right.
Because closed mouth don't get fed.
Right.
So, hey, man, how do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
I've been inquisitive now.
Right.
And then they start saying how.
Okay.
And my wife, she the same way. Okay, no, well, don't tell me to death. Show me, she finna show me state. So, she always like, hey, it's okay to go get the information from somebody else and how to be a better person, being a better father,
right?
Being a better brothers,
right?
But you also have to realize what is it that you kind of yearn for,
right?
Treat others as you want to be treated,
right? Mm-hmm. Right, true. So before we talk about family, let's do this quick thing. When you meet a brand new man, what are some of the you already know where I'm going? What is one of the first questions they ask you? You're like, not your name. Hey, how you doing? Elroy Seegars. What do they normally ask you?
What is it that you do?
What do you do?
Yeah. Why do you think we do that as men? It's centered around what?
It's an ego thing.
There you go. Sizing you up.
Yeah.
Right? Sizing you up. That's why you laugh when I said it, right?
But you know what? It's so funny because Dr. Chapman touched on this maybe a year or two ago about that question. If you allow me to take a,
sure, go ahead, man.
He said, why do people automatically start talking about their job when somebody asks you, what do you do? So I took that to heart. And so if somebody asked me that, right, I like to have some fun with it. It comes off as smart, but I like to say, I do a lot of things, so you have to be more specific, right? And then you see their minds kind of turning like, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I mean, you mean what I do for fitness? What do I do for leisure? Then I help them out. What I do for work? Oh yeah. What do you do for work? So I just have a little fun with it. But
I like that. I love fun. And like it says, we do it because we're sizing up the other man and their finances. I want to see if I'm doing better than you or worse than you. Not knowing I could be a trash collector, right, and make way more money than you.
True.
So don't never take the job title and think, if you want to know how much you make, just ask me, bro. You want to know how much I make, bro?
Well,
That's what you want to know, right, bro?
that question was asked to me, I say about a year ago.
Right.
And someone asked me that question. And then once I gave them the answer, they start talking about their business, their job,
Okay.
And then I said, great. I said, man, that means that, because you're right. They were sizing you up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, oh, so I figured I asked a question, but I said, wow, that's great that you're doing that. So that means that you are completely debt free. I like the way that you're doing. And then all of a sudden, conversation got quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh, yeah, man. I said, I'm debt free. I mean, I pretty much just go and buy what I want to buy when I want to buy it. And they're like, huh? I'm like, yeah, but you, man, if you made $200,000,
right.
Oh, but I'm sorry. You got to be a good steward of that $200,000.
Come on now. Mm-hmm. Come on.
So now you're telling me that you may gross $200,000, but you're spending $200,001. No, let me teach you something. Now, when the conversation changes, I said, now you have to be told what to do with your finances, because what happens if you get hurt tomorrow and you can no longer do what you were doing?
Mm-hmm.
Your money is going to stop.
Absolutely.
So in essence, you also guys, talking about your money going to stop as the man, one thing I love, my wife tells me, she says, I never worried about how we're going to make ends meet. She said, and this has been for 33 years, 34 years going on this year. Yeah. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Shout out to me and Rob.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
that's a blessing, brother.
If you want to help a man out, bust that ego.
Oh, yeah.
My wife, man, she'll, I'll be laughing. I know she's just trying to build my ego to get this thing done. But a lot of times when it comes to finances, our ego is really important to us. Mm-hmm. And you can get anything you want if you pop that ego.
Yes, sir.
Ladies, I'm trying to tell you, ladies, are you listening? Pop that ego.
But you know the answer to that making ends meet and versus how my mentality used to be compared to how my mentality is now?
What's that?
The best way to be or to that ends meet, start making ends meet, plant your own garden.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And to piggyback off of that, my wife always, she always says, I want to see our account grow. Yes. So I know that's the end goal for her, right? So that's all she got to say to me. I'm not trying to make that account grow and making the ends meet. But she always says, I never have to worry about losing sleep when it comes to us advancing on our finances and paying bills. She said, you've always taken care of that. And she means it well, not just that's where you go. And man, that gets me out of the bed every morning to go to work.
Yeah.
And that's what a man's supposed to do. Get up, go to work. If you got a business, you can stay at home. That's great too, as long as you get some income. Passive income. But we are the driving force to success of our families. So goes the man, so goes the family.
That's right. And that's why it is important for that man, if he is the sole provider for the household, is to, boom, I drop dead. Guess what?
Somebody said, so that's why you don't have a new bike. No, that's for me because I ride bicycles. Nah, that ain't why I got a new bike. It's because I put my money in the right place. Or it's the president, Tony Williams.
Start doing that to your money. Start building passive assets. Assets minus liabilities equal your net worth.
Yeah.
So you want to have something that's going to happen as you're physically not here.
Right.
There's something is still growing.
Right.
And that's some of the things that my wife and I are doing now. Mm-hmm. And then we are letting the kids see it, even though they may not be understanding.
They can see it,
but they're still watching it and they're asking the questions. Mm-hmm. Why did you buy that piece of land right there?
Right.
I said,
it's for the future.
I said, it's not about right now.
Yeah, it's about the future.
It's about the future.
Yeah.
Can we sell the trees on the land? Yeah, that's another 10, 12,000. How much is the land worth? How much do we get it for?
Right.
What will happen in this area within the next 5 years? Mm-hmm. So that's why I say short term, mid-term, and long-term goals.
Let me ask you another question. Y'all hobbies. What kind of hobbies do you guys have, Breyon? Besides counting your money now.
That's one hobby,
As a man, this is all about the man and his hobbies, because we have some expensive hobbies. I like cycling. I like to. I read, but my wife don't think I read a lot. I got magazines. I like articles. The Fortune book and all this other stuff. Kippinger. I like those books because they have articles in there. But hold on to that question. Now, you need to remember, because I'm gonna forget. I take the old books before COVID and go back and read them to see what they were saying, see what it applies to today, to see who was right, who was wrong. I got to stack up.
Oh wow!
So I'm going through them saying, hey, they said this now. It's amazing how they all was not saying that back then. Mm-hmm. So you got to watch who puts it in your mind and your ear, what you were saying. Now the question.
Yeah, so some of my hobbies are, I like to exercise.
Okay. Exercise like gym?
The gym.
Okay.
The gym, yeah.
Okay.
So gym membership.
Okay. All right. Which costs money.
Absolutely.
Put it in your plan.
1,000%. And I like to bake on the side. I like to bake.
You bake?
I do
okay.
Baking, yeah.
Okay.
I'm making mean sweet potato pound cake now. Come on now.
All right, so man in his hobbies. Okay.
Right.
Is it an expensive hobby for you to bake? You just bake a little bit, you bake a lot?
Just to bake a little bit, whenever I'm feeling.
You got an apron? You got a little apron?
I don't have an apron.
Oh, I'll get you an apron. It's gonna say money.
But I would say my most expensive hobby is I like perfumes, like colognes.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But you smell good. I knew I smelled something that came in. I was like, somebody smelled, and it wasn't me. It wasn't you, damn sorry.
No. It was one of the top 3 compliments you can get, in my opinion, is you have a beautiful smile, you are a wonderful person, and you smell good.
Okay, all right. So do you? I mean, now I'm gonna say this because my president of Team Flow Cycle, that brother always smells good.
Come on now.
And he has about 100 bottles of cologne. The reason why I say that, because they always come up on every ride. Yeah. Tony, why you smell so good? I got 100 bottles of cologne. So that's expensive, because it ain't, even if it's just $10. You buy it locally? Sometimes when you travel, what do you do? Because you got to have a travel package and a big home package. How do you?
Yeah, you gotta have a decant. But like for me, I have a decant. Decant is like when you take some of your own some of your perfume out of your.
You said 250.
Right. At the perfume, not at the toilet.
Yeah, the perfume or the EDP.
Okay, right, see, y'all talking.
Straight the parfum.
Okay, is it expensive? Is it expensive?
But it depends if you're going niche, if you're going designer,
okay.
Right? So your niche brands,
okay,
right? Your Mason Francis Kurkdjians, your Bikilians, things that only sell perfumes, those are going to get quite pricey. But your designers,
okay,
Giorgio Armani, stuff like that, you might can get those from a price point of $80, $90 to $100 per ounce bottle, but they still can get expensive.
Now, see, this is men and money. So y'all want to know what we spend our money on? This is one of those things. Perfume. Okay, not perfume. Cologne. What you call it? Not de toilette. So we spend money on that. That's something, and he likes to cook, which costs money.
Absolutely.
And what I'm hearing is that you are pouring into yourself, and you're not letting somebody else pour into you, because it's about you taking care of yourself before somebody say, "Hey, you look good." I know you tell yourself you look good. That's why you see the mirror in front of me, not in front of y'all. So I can see myself.
Amen.
You look good. So Dan T, give me some of your hobbies besides buying cars.
I like bowling, and something that I need to get back into, which is golfing. My cousin, on my wife's side, we visited him about a week and a half ago in Atlanta, and he was like, "Oh man, that's right, you do golf. So let's go and hit some golf balls at the country club. That's only for his members."
Absolutely.
And I noticed when I got there, the crowd and how everybody just flocked towards us to come talk to us while we were trying to hit balls. So it was a great thing that I was hitting balls the way I was taught, because it was able to carry on a conversation. And guess what, Elroy? I didn't get the question of what we do. Hey, who are you?
Oh, wow. Different mindset.
Yeah.
Different mindset. They asked you that because where you were.
Yeah. You must be doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
Dan hand ain't shaking when you shake hand. He's like, I'm grabbing you with a big grip.
So I was like, it's the way that we were getting treated. And that my wife was like, hey, babe, that's why, we live on the golf course community, but let's go out there and actually start playing and actually be involved, because believe it or not, people, that's a lot of business and connection is right there, and it's all about relationships.
Yeah, that's what we, my wife and I, we had our kids into doing golf. It was called First Tee. I think it was called.
Mhm.
It was here first
Mhm.
year we did that, and I tried to teach my kids the off sports, snowboarding, golf tee, going down to the resorts and doing like alligator, on the Everglades ride,
Oh,
doing
wow.
different things,
Yeah.
introduce their mind to certain things, because those are the things as a man, when you get out into the public, it's going to be an uncommon conversation with people like us, but coming with people that don't
Right.
like us.
Absolutely.
And that's my target. No, you see, what's that game? Lacrosse,
Mhm.
uncommon for us.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I'm always trying to bring something new to my boys, and now they gone and grown. So I'm proud of where they are in their life. I got a son in the military. Got my son who's a teacher here in Wake County. So teacher assistant. So he's doing great. He's we have target goals for him to meet.
Mhm.
This is what I do as a man for my family in trying to build wealth. I want to make sure not only do I lead something for them,
Mhm.
but they can also grow themselves financially.
Yes.
Because I don't want them to always be dependent on, okay, what is he gonna leave for me? But mom and dad left for me. A lot of times, mom and dad don't leave you anything.
Right.
And then there's a fight at the funeral. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to teach them to have your own. But yeah, I am setting up success for you down the road to put on top of what you already have.
Yes, sir.
Don't wait for me to give you everything. Give yourself something to start with. Like Dr. Chapman said, stand on my shoulders and go from there. Don't stand from the ground up and start there. And I think a lot of times as men, we don't give back. This is just me. This is my opinion.
Mhm.
Give back to our kids like we should. We're ready to force them out the house and say, get on your own. Now they got this bill. And it costs more now to forget a house. An apartment is even more than a house.
Yes, it is.
And then you go in the house, you got 5 kids and 2 bedrooms, because you're trying to share and pay that price. So I'm always trying to make sure as men, we're giving back to our kids, because your home is your first ministry.
Yes, it is.
That's your first ministry. And as men, we got to do what's right to take care of our own, our home, before we even launch out. Then you got 2 girls,
And my son.
and a son. That's right. I forgot about your son, so my apologies. Breyon, you're going to have some kids someday.
At the appointed time and season. My beautiful wife.
There you go, beautiful. That's right. Claim it, brother. Claim it. So, Breyon, talk about that. You're young, and you got a lot going on in your life, and we're talking about men and money. What are you doing to establish yourself, not now, but also for your kids to be down the road? What are you doing?
So, for me, first and foremost, taking care of my health. Right, health is definitely wealth, and that can't be undermined. Financially, having the 401k into play, learning about different forms of life insurance and policies, and
Right.
how to have that stuff in place. Having beneficiaries and stuff set up, right.
Mm-hmm.
Also, continuing to build on the freedom plan,
Okay.
budgeting, saving money. Making sure that I become debt free as quick as possible, right?
As quick as possible.
As quick as possible. Those are some things that I'm doing, and continuing to build my understanding and increase my education of money management, right? Getting ready to, wanting to get involved in investing, right? Whether it's mutual funds,
okay,
right, or individual investments in real estate. You've seen my vision board. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Vision PowerPoint.
Yeah,
right.
Virtual.
So just trying to do my best to accomplish those goals so that I can not only live the life I want to live in abundance, right, but also allow my children's children to be able to be in a good space. Because Dr. Chapman said before, when I have children, I want my children to start off
right
further than where I started off, right?
They shouldn't be starting from scratch.
Yeah, from scratch in the same place. So keeping that in mind, I always begin with the end in mind. Shout out to Stephen Covey, wanting to make sure that I'm positioning myself for my wife too, right? Right. But because I want to bring her into a clean environment, debt-free environment, right? But also making sure that my children are set up and their children are good to go for generations.
Okay, you just said something to me that really hit me. You said you want to start off with a clean environment. What about if you marry somebody that's not as clean as you?
I was thinking that and wanted to ask him.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good question. That's one of those first date questions. So what's your credit score? How much debt you got?
I always think you should know that before you start dating. I'm sorry. That's just me. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
How are you gonna deal with that? Right. Let's say she has a credit score of 450.
Ooh.
Are you gonna kick her to the curb? Now you about your money, right? Are you gonna grow this? You're gonna grow together versus a woman that got 850 credit score, but no money. I mean,
Look,
you got somebody that got a
right,
450 credit
right.
score, but got a lot of money. I know that because I deal with it a lot. So
Right,
I'm saying,
right. So the person who has a 450 credit score and has a lot of money, it may just be a management issue.
there you go.
Yeah,
There it
Right,
is.
you know what I'm
That's
saying?
what I'm looking for. That's
Yes,
what I'm
Right. If you got an 850 with no money, and it's like, well, what that's great, but something's off, right? So see, at this point in time,
That's
like,
fool's gold, right?
there you go.
So you can't. It ain't always what it seems to be. You really got to dig and dive into that situation. But go ahead, man. Go ahead.
You know, look, that's
It's
a
good.
question.
It's
But
good.
but look, that's not to get some spiritual. That's when you gotta, go through it in prayer and take it to the altar. Man, Lord, I need you to reveal to me.
Take
what's
her to the
going
altar.
on.
You mean to say?
Look, yeah, right. Absolutely. But I think it's it's mindset, right? And I think management can always be taught, right?
Right.
And if a lot of times people just mismanage it because they just don't know I have that foundation.
Come on now.
Right. So if you have a
Amen.
450 credit score, you got money coming in, you got money. It's just that, are you managing it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I'd rather do with somebody who I can, impart some wisdom in.
Oh man, I love that word imparts of wisdom to them.
Impart, absolutely.
So Tony Williams, the president of Team Flow, he says, grow and educate her.
Talk about it.
Consider the circumstances surrounding the why. It says insurance is the legacy builder also. So I like what he says, it goes hand in hand with what you're saying, understanding the why. Because a lot of people take that credit score and be like, oh man, this person ain't got no money. One thing a lot of jobs do, they look for, they not only do a background check on you as far as security, but they also do a credit rating on you too.
That's right.
See what kind of hike are you true to who you say you're going to be? Are you going to pay your bills on time? Are you
Your
gonna
integrity score.
There you go. That's exactly what it is. So that's important because a lot of times people lose jobs because of a low FICO score.
That's crazy.
So Dan,
Yes, sir.
same question. Don't ask me what the question was. You married before you got married. What was your FICO score? Was it like low? I know these was probably high. I know these was probably high.
I had a repo on because I was coming out of a marriage.
Okay.
So this is my second and last marriage.
V said, I second that.
Oh yeah, she does second and third that. So my
wife
credit
said,
score was
before you saw that, my wife said, who is Team Flow? It's a cycling group ran by Tony Williams, Raleigh, North Carolina. It's a 503c. He is he's big in the cycling world. He's located here in Raleigh, and we do different rides throughout the course of the week. Tuesday ride, Thursday rides, Saturday rides, sometimes Sunday rides. He's a big advocate about health. He's also a big advocate as far as being able to you do things outside of cycling, which is men, and there's a lot of women in the cycling group. It's men and women, so it's kind of like balance. So Team Flow is Team Flow is a cycling group here located in Raleigh. If you want to find them, look for Team Flow on Facebook. Tony Williams is the press. Go.
All right. Oh man, I was captivated by what you were just saying.
Yeah, that FICO score because you wasn't always where you were.
No,
but V hung in there.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, she did. And we talked about finances. I'm telling you, probably before we got married.
Is that a tough conversation?
It was because I told her the truth. I was like, look, I've been married young and divorced, and I got things on there that I got a repo. That was the biggest thing.
God, Moses, boy.
And she was like, okay, well, I have debt too.
Okay.
So and I have student loans. So before we live together, I think that we need to probably eliminate this.
Wow.
So when she were deployed and someone gave her the Dave Ramsey kit, and Dave Ramsey is kind of harsh, very harsh. But we were military and I'm artillery. So I was used to do what I'm told. Right. So even though how harsh it was, I still got captivated into not paying full price for anything. So I really love that aspect of it. But everything else, me and my wife modified to fit our goal. But one thing we did, I told her, was that I'm used to old school of that. The man, he should bring home the bacon and everything like that. Right. But I'm like, anything that you bring, of course, is not extra because it has to have a name. Right. Assignment. Okay. So the assignment that it was given was getting out of debt and start building wealth. Right. And so ever since we got married in April 25th of 2008,
Okay.
The first time I saw anything that my wife brought in was January, maybe 15th of 2020.
Okay. Okay. You had a plan. You had a plan. So, men, if you guys got any questions, you can always ask. Don't let me just ask all the questions.
Okay.
So, man, I said that question, boy, that 59 creeping in. The question is like, everyone sees, they says wealth is a new health.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone sees wealthy differently. It could be wealth. It could be, I got $1 million in my account. Or it could be, I'm in great shape. I got 250 in my account and I'm traveling the world. What does wealthy look like to you? What is your definition of this is how I see myself as being wealthy? It could be different from mine and yours. It's not going to be $1 million for you, $1 million for me, $1 million for him. What does wealthy look like to you?
I think for me, not to get too spiritual, but I think it's being free.
Get spiritual, bro.
Free and free in mind, body, soul, and spirit. Because there's some people whose minds, hearts, right, are chained, right, locked up due to circumstances or what they've experienced in life, right.
Okay.
And nobody can come out the womb and say, "Hey, I want to go to a family or a situation that has a gold spoon in it." That living in a state that has money saved up for me. You don't get to pick where you go. You just have to do the cards at your hand, but you don't have to stay there. Right. I think a lot of people, get in situations and, life happens, as they say, and it affects them in all areas and facets of their life. So for me, it's not just about money.
Okay.
Right. Now, I can't pay a bill with happiness. Right.
Sure
but
can.
How many people are multimillionaires and are not happy, or they don't have that joy that gives us our strength. Right. So I think wealthy is being able to be fulfilled or, clear of mind, heart, soul, and spirit. That's how I look at it.
Okay. What about you? Well, let me ask you in terms of dollar value. What's wealthy to you as far as things you obtain? You can say a house, you can say money. What does wealthy when it comes to finances look like to you?
So finance is being able to buy what I want to buy without restriction.
Okay.
That's wealthy to me. If I, my vision board, I got Rolls Royce and Lamborghinis up there and estates and
right with
right?
you.
Hey, I got you.
Sure do.
So, being able to buy what I
you
want.
got one, I got one.
And we go buy with Dan T one too.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, just freedom of being able to buy what I want to buy without any restrictions. So, Dad, can I get that this month? Oh,
right. I would ask Dan the question, but we already know his answer. He already dead free. but let me go ahead and actually, just because. Dan, what does wealthy look like to you?
The main journey and the reason why that we became so aggressive.
I got a question. We just popped in my head.
Ready, Elroy?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
Being so aggressive is that for me, it was not just my pride, but it was more of my ailment that my body, because my mind and spirit are on something totally different. So the positivity is what drives me a lot. I hate negative things. And my body deals with, at times, multiple sclerosis. So I was like, I got to get while the getting is good. So we have to, put no sleep to the eyes and get out of that quickly as possible, and live low, live like a newly promoted E5, right. And get out of debt as quick as possible to be able, because we had a vision of what will life look like,
right,
5, 10, 15 years down the road, based upon the decision that is made today. And not just the decision, but the execution, and can we stay disciplined with it? Mm-hmm. And we was like, okay, now we done said it. Mm-hmm. How we gonna give it life? Yeah. It's time to let the rubber hit the road.
Give it legs. Yeah.
And now it's time to do it.
Right.
And once we start doing it, man, I'm telling you, now my health is just a value calculation towards it, because now being exposed to different being exposed to different people in different fields, I'm being exposed to different type of natural health care that is helping my body to get better. So exposure, again, is what Elroy goes back to. It's what are we being exposed to get better.
Yep. Someone says, wealthy to me is to be able to take my wealth and change someone's life when I choose. I'm going to hit a little bit on, you touched on something on your MS. How did that impact your finances when you had MS? I mean, I know it was impacted your marriage. I know that. Yeah. But sticking to finances, how did that impact you was there a time in your life, if it's too sensitive?
No.
I know it wasn't. I just want to make sure let the public know that. Why he asked that question?
No.
Because I know Dan T, he's open book.
Well,
I wanted to make sure people know it was okay.
No.
How did that impact you when it came to your finances?
It used to be vulnerable, man. I'll be honest.
Okay.
But I learning now that my story, and I'm also still writing my book, that the story has to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not for me, it's to help someone else. So to answer that question, when I was told by the military that, hey, your time is up because of your job title and because of the type of security level that you have, it's a very stressful job. You got to go.
Right.
So I felt less of a man because that military uniform defined me. That's Dan T. I done went through the ranks and then end up crossing over. So I saw my career progressing and saw myself doing 30 years.
Right.
Which 30 years would be 3 years from now.
Wow.
And I see my peers now wearing CW5, which is where I should be at.
What's CW5? That's
Chief Warrant Officer.
Chief Warrant Officer. Okay, 5. Okay.
Which is the highest that we can go for the warrant officers.
Okay.
So I kind of live my life of what could have happened through them. Mm-hmm. But what we plan is not necessarily what God had for me.
Right.
Because now I see multiple sclerosis, meaning multiple salvation, meaning
come on, different name for MS. Come on now.
Things,
come on now.
To where I had to take control of it now, because what would have happened if I would never had multiple sclerosis?
Right. Wow.
So my finances, I lost my military job, but I work as a government contractor. So I used that money to get us ahead of the game, made the right investments,
right?
Which is not about the short game; it's about that long game. So we start playing chess with our finances.
Right. Hey, Prez, I know you're on the line. If you're okay to talk about your situation, just type in the word "okay," and then I can briefly talk about your situation that you had. He said, "Okay." He's quick on the trigger.
Okay, my man.
Tony Williams. He had a rare cancer.
Oh, wow.
And this dude, he's a beast on the bike. He brought me from where I was to where I am right now, and he had stage 4 cancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
At one point in time, this is a man and his money and being vulnerable.
Okay.
He relied on he trusted in people on his job, but when it came down to it, they really wasn't there for him. And he's been going through this probably, give me the months, Tony, 2 years now, right? 2 years. And Tony had a lot of cash. He even was offered to somebody to buy his own business.
Wow.
And he said no. COVID hit him. Cancer hit him. Lost a lot. And the last time I talked to my brother, he says his doctor bill was $1.8 million that he owed. That's man and your money. Can you imagine you been offered a business, didn't take it, and now your business is no longer there? He had over 200 employees.
Ouch.
Wow. Yeah, man and money. But that brother, he included me in his life. We talk a lot. We on Marco Polo. He said that's just one. The total is now $3.5 million. Wow.
And that's in medicine.
And the community came together to, we didn't make too much of a dent, $3.5 million, but it's the support and love that we gave him. Men and money. A man who is down, who supports his family through thick and thin. And now, what do we give back to him from whence he's given to us? That's when you learn what men and money is about. Are you going to be there for me as I was for you? I always tell people, don't loan somebody some money and then go ask for them to loan you money back.
That's right.
You might as well not give it to them.
Don't have it to give.
Like, I gave you some money last month. Why can't you help me? Well, that same person is already struggling. Guess what? They're not going to give you the money if they're already struggling. Men and money.
Right.
You got to take care of yourself. Yourself. So I said it because if you want to learn about Tony, he said he never asked why. He just said, why not? If you want to learn about Tony, like I said, Team Flow, man, that guy is incredible. We continue to do things for him. And thank you for allowing me to share that story, that testimony, Tony, because
you find out who
your friends are. You find out who you are. You really find out who you are.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're going through it alone. Even though you may have a wife and kids, sometimes God puts you on that island just so he can talk to you, saying, this is where I want you to be. I'm going to use your testimony to build my kingdom, not yours, not your man, not
His
your
glory,
wealth,
his glory,
not your society,
his glory.
but he's doing that through men. And from that, we're going to be wealthy throughout this nation. So, thank you for letting me share that. Get kind of choked up when I talk about that, brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, shout out Tony, man.
Yeah,
May God continue to bless you, brother.
Yeah. So
you.
let me ask you guys. I know I said way back when, 45 minutes ago, we're going to talk about family. Woo-wee. Breon's pointing towards Dan, and Dan looking at Breyon, and I'm like,
all right.
We gotta put a 2-minute clock on that one, y'all, because
this gonna be a little touchy subject, man. But
well, I can commend you for one thing, because when your mother, right,
my grandmother,
she moved in with y'all, and
that was my aunt that moved in with us.
Moved in with Dan. Men and his money. I'm gonna keep saying men and his money. Dan did not blink an eye. Bought her from her old place, put her into an apartment, and y'all paid for it.
That was my grandma.
Yeah, I thought it was.
But we also help out our aunt.
See, this dude just giving me, hey Dan, can you give me 20?
Yeah.
But you hear what this man is saying? Men and his money. He's helping out others through his love of Christ, and he's not counting the dollar value. He's counting the value of a person's life, what it means to him.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna say this: we get that from RNCC.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We get that from Dr.
Yeah.
Chapman.
I was like Scrooge McDuck, though. Scrooge McDuck was about earning, not giving.
Yeah. And he teaches us that. And he teaches us, and that church is about men. About building powerful men. And I know when it comes to your story and it comes to family, I know that much about you. So give us a little something, and let me make sure you have to kick him, Breyon, if it goes too far now. Right? I got my tissue over here, bro.
Okay. It started in 2019 when my wife and I started teaching at RNCC, right? That first class. And if you remember the first class that I said, I think it was like class number 2, Breyon. And me and my wife got real estate. Mm-hmm. We still in debt, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, oh yeah, guess what? By the end of the year, we gonna have everything paid off and we're gonna be debt free. Everybody stood up, started thanking God, praising everything, and then everybody came to agreement with us.
All right.
Now, of course, that's easier said than done. My wife looked at me and like, I don't know how that gonna happen. Now, that was that April. Here it is that June. My aunt get kicked out of her house, of the house she was staying with her daughter, and her fiance kicked her out. So now my grandma asked if we could help because she didn't have no room in her house.
Right.
So my wife and I came and picked her up.
Wow.
And but it was the teaching that we had to give her and show her, because she come out of where we grew up at, and the mindset thinking is so low.
Yeah.
So low. Low. So I couldn't elevate her thinking if my thinking wasn't already changed.
Right.
So by being in the RCC at this time, maybe 5 years? So,
right.
So able to help her out to where COVID happened. And of course, she gets a job in February of 2020. Right. Now, by us helping her out, my grandma said, God's going to bless you guys and I ain't going to tell you when. Guess what happened December 3rd of 2019? We became debt free.
Amen.
To include the rental homes. Grandma was right. She was right. Now, here it is, my aunt now, not just working. 6 months later, she moves out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Into her senior apartment down the street from us. And now we said we ain't taking nobody else in the house.
I hear that.
And then here come my grandma that raised me pretty much.
Right.
And we help her. And I had to, once again, help them out with rent and get them situated. Mm-hmm. And my grandma ended up, before she passed away, she had 7 months of living for the first time ever in her life. Ready for this, Breyon? Central heat and air.
Wow.
And running water. Things that we take for granted all the time.
Absolutely.
And guess what? Ready for this? Debt free.
I'm typing as I'm paying attention, but Ask me a question.
Grandma debt free
Mm-hmm.
for the first time ever in her life as an 83-year-old.
Wow.
It's
remarkable.
Debt free. My aunt, debt free. The one that was living with my grandma, debt free. All they worry about now is just paying rent at their little senior spot.
Wow.
But we taught them finances along the way,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to humble themselves.
Absolutely.
Because here it is, the kid that they used to raise.
Okay.
But train the trainer.
All right. Breyon, my wife came down and says, you been on the hour. How long you going to be on? I'm like, when it's good, girl.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know what, Breyon, you remember the question now because I'm going to switch.
Family.
Yeah, it's about family. So I want you guys to come back. What I love about this here, this can go into like 10 parts. And I get that from Dr. Chapman. I got a sermon in there today. Okay, we're on part 10 now, 10 weeks later.
Right,
so I say that because we may have to follow up on it. So,
Okay.
So we want this to be too long. So we can we can talk about other things that, we can come up. So I want you guys to think about things you want to bring to the table and that you want to talk about family. It can, this is a financial podcast. So that revolves around everything we do. And stuff like that. So family, Breyon, go.
Yeah. So for me, I haven't been fortunate to haven't been in a situation to where, family has been, asking me for money or things of some sort. My dad jokingly, he always says, I don't want to be in a position where I'm having to ask you or my sister Jocelyn for money. Right. My mother doesn't really ask either. So I'm such a giver that I'm always willing and ready to give.
Okay.
Right. But they don't put me in a position to be able to, I'll say God hasn't allowed me to be in a position to where I've had to give something of a substantial amount to them. So I really haven't had anything to do with giving out money. It's more so encouragement or just being somebody that can listen and, and offer a lending ear. But
you start by giving me some money. you can call me your brother. My brother, give me some money.
You my guy. Look, I definitely owe you something for sure. Absolutely.
No, man, you just being here has blessed me and gifted generations tremendously, man. And for me, my family dynamic, I'm the youngest of the kids and stuff. I'm not gonna say I'm the best looking one, of course. And I think my wife, she got the best child of Susie Mae Seegars. So yeah, I give my props out to my mom.
Absolutely.
Dad passed a long time ago. Really didn't know him, so didn't learn anything from him. I learned through my mom as I was younger. My trial and error was watching my mom as a child because as a baby you get drug out everywhere. So I watched what she did, putting money on left breast, right breast. Telling me how to do these kind of things. I'm like, wow, this woman is good with money. So it just naturally was part of my DNA, watching her how she conserved. So it was like conserve. Watch, count. Not just spend, don't have.
Right.
So she didn't make a lot of money, but to me, she was rich,
right?
Because we didn't go without, except for one time she gave me some Joe Laps, and they make your feet feel fine. Joe Laps, it costs $1.99. Joe Laps, remember that?
I do. Yeah, I know.
You too young. You too young.
But you know what? They call them Bobos.
Bobo. That's it. Okay, Bobos. That's it. Okay. That's that younger generation right there. That's it right there. That's too funny. But yeah, man. So my brother Harold Seegars, he's like the silverback of our family, man. He keeps us when something goes wrong, and not financially. Well, he's sounded financially. Him not talking a lot about money, but when something goes wrong, that's who we call him. That's it's him. Then I have another brother, Herbert. He was in the government and he was in the military. And my sister Margie, and then my brother Thomas, and they got all kinds of nephews and nieces, man. And the thing about that is that we talk a lot. We have our own little chat channel. We do a texting. So we mentioned men, we mentioned money, and years back ago, I made them write down their bucket list. I still have it. So every now and then, I send a snapshot and I say, "Where are you on your bucket list?" Because people think bucket list means I got to do this when I'm older. Bucket list means as soon as you write it down, you start working those things off. A lot of times we think bucket list as retirement. Then when you say debt free, people think you're 100 years old, but you're not. You ain't 50. And you've been debt free for a while. So people think, you got to be old to be debt free. But you don't have to be old to be debt free. It's just how you work your money to get debt free. And you have a nice house.
Beautiful house.
Yeah. In a trailer. I'm not saying that trailer is bad. I'm just saying you have a large mansion, and you work that your gift, that God's given you. So I don't want to be too much longer. So Dan T, go ahead and give them a little something about, your website if you want to, and tell them again, about your business. This is your chance, and we'll post it somewhere as far as who you are, pictures and stuff, so people can click on it and maybe follow your business on the website. So that's definitely gonna be out there. But I'm gonna give you a chance to shout it out.
Yes, DV Alston Consulting, dvalston.com. Able to, now we are more investors, but I still teachers at heart, because definitely want to pour back into other small businesses and watch them grow, because like I said, it's about passive income.
Passive.
I'm just saying, and that's wrong with having another passive income. So all y'all business owners out there, definitely got their business plans and everything right. But really, I want to leave a word of knowledge.
That was next. I was going to answer that next. Go ahead, though. Drop it.
Especially since we're talking about our men. And I'm going to talk about Dan T. All right. Don't be afraid to go approach someone, regardless if they look like you or not.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of your shell. Get out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And be attracted to someone on that mental level that can help make you grow, because it's called being on the right frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do not hang around someone that is going to be not pouring into you.
Got to cut them off.
And they also are negative.
Yep.
That mentality. I mean, I'm re-listening to a book right now by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
Yeah, so being around negativity is going to rub off on you, and that can be a cancer within itself, killing your dreams, your plans, your hopes, your dreams, right? And you don't need that. I need someone to tell me that.
Point to you.
And even if you fall off the horse, Breyon, I want you to, hey, Dan T, it's okay. We all fall off, but what do? We get back up. Versus you, that negative person, and all you want to do is kick me down because I'm down.
Right.
That's why I say watch your surroundings and start putting yourself around positive people.
All right. Breyon, you got a business yet?
Not at the moment.
But you're single, so that's your business.
Managing this moolah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. But you know what? I can see you continue to do what you're doing. You are a bright young man. I told you that from day one I met you. I said, man, this guy is good, man. And God is doing good things for you, man. And you're doing good things for him. You helping build his kingdom, and you're young in this business. And I love to see young people in this business grow. That's why I love to see my son. He does so well. He even exceeded my goals for him financially.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah. So far as me, one thing I do, Dan, for my boys is it's not to brag. As Dr. Chapman said, it's not to brag. It's just to say it's what I'm doing. I tell my sons, when it comes to my son's a 403B and doesn't have a TSP because it's in federal government. I said, whatever you put in your TSP, I said, Daddy, match it.
You know what? I remember you telling me that a couple weeks ago.
I said, so you put in 100, I'm going to give you another 100. So now you can put in 200 because I don't want my kids to have to work forever. I want them to be able to have something and then be able to help them manage it now as far as what I'm teaching so they can be able to retire at a younger age. I said, my goal for you, I said, this is my goal. It's 50, 55 the latest. Get out and be a millionaire young in life. So I'm giving that back as much as I can.
That's right.
Because I know what $25 would do for you. But when you double that, so if they increase it, I increase mine. They go up, I go up.
That's crazy how the compound interest of $100, doing that from age 18 all the way to 29, and don't touch it no more.
Look,
and by the time it does get touched at age 59, you already sitting at like 1.2, 1.3 million.
Crazy, right?
That's $100.
But that's spending money and giving back to your family first. Right. I put money in mine. I also put money in theirs. They put money in theirs. I'm watching it, and it's funny because even though my son hears me talk about money, he said, I said, hey, how much money you got in your account? Like, I don't know the password. He was looking at it. He looked at it and he said, Dad, this ain't right. I said, what do you mean? He says, because I only put a little bit in there, and this is a lot more. I said, oh, let me teach you a little something. Even though I've been talking about it, now I can show you because it's now you. Then he said, if I put that little bit in, what happens if I double it? I said, you just said it. I said, what about if I match your double? Now it's quadruple. He's like, okay. Now I offered my son a car to buy him a car. You know what he told me? Don't buy me no car. Give me that money that you're going to put in that car. Let me put in my 401k.
Come on now. Yes, sir.
Man.
And I was like, man, I told that boy well.
Yes, you did.
I saved myself some money.
Yes, you did.
But also give it to him because now it's a future building on what he's going to do.
It's investment.
So for me, when it comes to friends, I always say, when it comes to Elroy, that if I am not multiplying or adding to your life, then me and you should not be in the same atmosphere. If someone is subtracting and dividing from you,
yes, sir,
they are taking away from you. To me, you got to get rid of that person out of your life.
You're right.
And I have done that before. I have cut people off. Why it's like, you did what? Oh my goodness. I said, babe, I had to. Now, my wife knows sometimes she says, you're just too nice because you just go on and on and on. And you let people use you. I said, I'm the type of person, I got to feel when I'm used and then I know when to cut it off.
Yeah.
My wife said, well, I can see and I don't like it. You know,
that's my wife.
You're right. Yeah, V and Robin just like. But I always say, when someone is taking from you and they're not providing you something, they're always pulling from you. You feel drained. You're like, okay, this person got to go.
Yep.
So if you're not adding to my life, if I'm not adding to yours, then this is not a match that needs to continue as far as it can be an acquaintance.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Dan? How you doing, Breyon? What's going on, bro? But we ain't sitting down. We ain't doing no more than that.
Right.
So I always say, like Dan says, watch your circle. So I'm going to wrap this thing up because it's been an hour and 2 minutes. Wow, our longest podcast ever. It's going to be a part 2 through 10. Like Dr. Chapman say, y'all might have to go back because I ain't got no time on the clock. So y'all listen to us. You got a podcast. It's Gifted Generations LLC.com podcast. We also have a Facebook page, Gifted Gen LLC. Instagram is gift.gen. YouTube at Gifted Generation LLC. And also we have a website. It's called Gifted Generations LLC. I'm sorry, back that up. Gifted Generations LLC. You forget that dash, you may end up on someone else's page. I don't know what may pop up. Would not be us. Listen, we are now on iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts. My wife does all this stuff. Now, I'm the IT guy.
Right.
This girl's putting it down. I give all the credit, man. She does the postings. I just come in and say, baby, what I click live and start? She does all the advertisement stuff. She does all this stuff. I just sit on the chair, plug in a few things, and I just go. So I'm giving my wife all the props.
Hey.
You know, and trust me, if I'd have listened to her a lot earlier, we'd be a whole lot richer. So don't just listen to men. You got some good supporting women out there. So sometimes you need to sit down and say, you know what, honey, I hear you, baby. Listen to them. Because my wife had some advice and I didn't take it. And I ain't saying worse off. I'm saying we could have been better off.
That's right.
So you have somebody that, you may make this fine decision, but listen to your spouse, your significant other, because they have an important role to play in your life. Don't make it all about you. You got to make sure you share the information, talk about it, and then decide what is best. And my wife has always lived with the decisions I made. Some good, some bad. More good than bad. But she's always says, it's okay, babe. We'll recover. And I love her for that. She has never knocked me down from this ill-fated decisions, misguided decisions. And when you find somebody like that, you find a good one.
And that's why y'all been married for over 30-some years, bro.
Yeah, buddy. That's it. So listen, we're about to sign off.
Talk about investing.
Look.
That's another podcast.
It's the podcast. See, 29, 39, 39. You be like 6-some years old. Just count the numbers up. So I want to say big thanks to Dan T, the Commissioner Rolesville, Breyon Johnson, the single man. I'm going to have his information posted. You'll see a picture of him out there, y'all. Look, if you come to RNCC, you can meet him. You can meet him. He put it out there, not me. He says, hey, I'm a bachelor now, y'all. He may be on Bachelorette. Who knows? It's a bachelor, not Bachelorette. Yeah. So love you guys, man. We don't say love you enough, man. We don't say thank you enough. I appreciate you guys just spending time to come into my household and just breaking a conversation that I think is needed and wanted. So thank you, Prayers, for coming on and just cheering me on and then let me share your story, man. You're an awesome man of God. This guy can sing and play all kind of instrument, man. I love him. He does a world for the cycling world. So we're about to end this thing, and this is not the last that you heard of Breyon, Dan, and the Elroy Show.
Yes, sir.
Posted by Gifted Generations. Thank you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Well, thank you for tuning in to our podcast, FinanceOlogy 101. I hope you enjoyed this session and the information provided will assist you on your financial journey. Until next time, be financially engaged.